Now, it is true there were, Ben Swan does make a good point. He did say a few incorrect things or intellectually dishonest things, but one thing he did say is this wasn't an intelligence failure. And there he's correct. That is actually a mistake I made on this channel on a few occasions. On the early days after October 7th, I said this is the greatest intelligence and military failure in Israel's history. It was not an intelligence failure. We see that the intelligence was actually spot on. It was a military failure. Now, how did the military fail to such a great extent? So we often attribute malice to what should just be attributed to stupidity or incompetence, or in this regard, I think arrogance to a large extent. First of all, this whole idea of Hamas wanting to invade Israel and take hostages, this isn't a new idea. This has been something that Israel has known Hamas would like to do for over a decade, right? It's not like we just got these reports and they were the first reports on such a plan. This has been something that Israel knew Hamas has some interest in doing for a decade plus now. So it's not like there was out of the blue, suddenly you get reports of an attack and you're like, oh, whoa, we've never heard this before. No, this has been an ongoing thing. And in reality, they just thought, let them try. We have a fence, we have drones, we have cameras, we have military, we could deploy more troops if we need. Let them try, they won't succeed. But they didn't, I think even with intelligence, most didn't even think that they would attempt it. Now, why would they not think they would attempt it despite the intelligence? Intelligence reports come in all the time. Same thing with 9/11, right? There was a report of an attack prior to 9/11, and people said, "Oh, you see, Bush knew about it; he wanted it to happen." But the thing is, reports come in all the time, and often they're not acted on because you think that the security will take care of itself. In hindsight, you could then look and say, "Ah, you see, they knew." But there has been relative quiet with Hamas for over 2 years prior to October 7th. There wasn't any direct engagement between Israel and Hamas. In fact, just this past year in 2023, Netanyahu allowed for, I believe the number is 15,000 Gazans to enter Israel every day to work. This is really his maintenance of the status quo, or maybe even, I very rarely give Netanyahu credit. Will be a minor point of credit. One can say he was trying to improve the situation and keep stability and quiet with Hamas. Again, not a big risk taker. He thought we could keep them contained. We'll let Gazans in. We'll help improve the economy. There's no reason to think that after 2 years of quiet, after we just allowed more civilians in, that they're going to attack us, take soldiers, and ruin it all, and just allow, in return, have Gaza be destroyed. Given the quiet and given the fact that reports come in all the time of similar things, it wasn't so obvious at the time that even though there isn't an intelligence report or a warning that, they're definitely going to do it now, it seems like most of the military thought, they're likely not going to try. And if they do, we got this. Now, they talk also about the brigades that were moved a few days prior. That did happen, right? So, that's awfully suspicious. If you have all these warnings, why move brigades? Well, the reason brigades were moved is because there was increasing tension in the West Bank, more visible tension, right? Not just security warnings, but actual protests and stone throwing. They started to see this increase in tension there, and they wanted to increase the security presence before the holidays. Now, what is more likely is not that Israel took away the army so Hamas could attack. It's that Hamas took advantage of the situation that there weren't many troops on the border and attacked just then. It was more so opportunistic, right? Let's say Israel saw these warnings. They're like, oh, we're going to take these warnings seriously. Let's put all our troops on the border. Hamas wouldn't have attacked, right? It seems like they were patient and waited for an opportunistic time, happened to be a festival, There happened to be not many troops on the border. It was a holiday. Let's attack now. We saw this also happen in the Yom Kippur War um, in 72 or 73. Why do I always forget that? Yom Kippur War. 73, yeah. Right. It was something similar in the Yom Kippur War. It was very opportunistic. That is more logical than to think they moved them in order for them to attack. No, they attacked at that time because the border didn't have a high level of military personnel. And if it did, they very well may have postponed their attack. Um, there wasn't a high level of urgency. They could have waited a week, a month, maybe even a year.